Just light them.
This is Rockin' with J-Man, is with Vinny Appice. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You're the youngest interviewer ever that I ever had an interview with.
Really?
So I'm doing good. Yeah.
It's an honor, man. It's an
Yeah.
honor.
Most kids are 11 or sitting somewhere playing with their phone.
uh,
You're rocking. You're rocking out. So that's cool.
how's life treating you?
Life is very good. And we just came off a 5 gig run with Last in Line. We did that. And now we're leaving again next week on Thursday to play 3 California shows. And so keeping very busy. So things are good. We got an EP coming out next month with Last in Line on November 11th. And that contains a couple of live uh, songs. Oops. And it's got a new song on it. And then a remake of the Beatles' A Day in the Life song. So we're all excited. Pretty cool.
Does it bother you at all that your brother says his last name adds a piece? Does it bother you a lot?
Nah, he's totally wrong. I don't know why he says it that way. He doesn't get it. You know what? Back in years ago, before you were born, for sure, he used to say Carmine Appice, and it's even on a record. There was a live record with the band he played with, which was called the Vanilla Fudge. And after the drum solo, the bass player Timmy introduced him, Carmine Appice on the drums. So he was Appice. That's what I say. And then when he played with Rod Stewart was very confused as to how to say the last name because he hears all different pronunciations. So
Yeah.
he asked Carmine, what do I pronounce? How do I pronounce it? What's the easiest way? And Carmine asked Rod, well, what do you hear it? He goes, a piece. So he changed it to a piece. So, but my whole family, like, most of my family says Appice. So crazy. Hey,
If
your head's cut off.
wait, it is?
The camera's too low, too high. Go down.
Is it good now?
Yeah, yeah, that's good right there.
Alright.
Yeah. Now you cut off again. You cut off again. It went back the way it was. You look like, There you go.
Okay. Okay.
I was talking to a forehead.
Oh,
Okay, Jam Man. What's your real name?
Ramsey?
Ramsey?
Yeah.
Cool name, dude. Wow.
Thank you.
Do you play?
I play the drums. Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do?
Mhm.
Good. You got drums and everything?
Mhm.
Cool. You got a band?
I do play in the band, but I don't got my own band.
Oh, okay. You play like copy music and stuff?
Mhm.
Good. You making money?
Nah.
Oh man, gotta get a manager now. You gotta make some money out of this.
I really want to. I gotta get enough followers and stuff though.
Yeah, get the followers and then get book gigs and get paid for the gigs when you can. Okay.
If Dio would have told you to say your last name, like to say your last name how he said it,
Right.
do you have listened to him?
Do I ever what?
If Dio ever told you to say your last name, would you ever listen to him? Like to say it how like a piece, if he ever.
No, because Ronnie was cool. He when we got together, I introduced myself, Vinny Appice. I went by that, and Ronnie was cool. And the funny story is Ronnie said Appice correctly, and my brother Carmine played with Ozzy Osbourne. This was in the late '80s, and he got used to saying Carmine Appice, on the drums. And then years later, 10 years later, probably, I played with Black Sabbath with Ozzy on a European tour. And Ozzy introduced the band, and he introduced me as Vinny Appice. So he mixed it up. So the next morning, I had to tell him, hey, Carmine says a piece, and I say Appice. And you know what he said?
What?
He can't understand them. But the next night he got it. He got it. He got it corrected. When Vinny, he was nervous, but he said, Vinny Appice on the drums. So, but Ronnie never changed it.
Carmine is more of like a pop rock guy. What got you into being a metal one?
I just liked metal. I liked heavy music, and I just liked it. Matter of fact, when I was your age or younger, I used to play vinyls on the turntable and put them on 16 so they slowed down. And it was like boom, 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 big old, dark, fat sound. And I liked that. I thought that was cool. And then the music, I listened to was more heavier, And when Zeppelin came out, I loved Zeppelin and Sabbath and all the heavier stuff. Carmine was more, and he could play some of that stuff, but he's more lighter and more poppy, like you said. He played on "Do You Think I'm Sexy" with Rod Stewart. I would have played on "Do You Think I'm Heavy."
Do you think I'm heavy?
Yeah.
What do you think about Adam Levine saying that hot chicks don't listen to heavy metal?
Who's Adam Levine? I heard the name, but I can't place it.
All Around 5 singer, Rowan 5.
Nah, that's not true because there's more guys that listen to it than girls, but there's a lot of girls in the audience, and they got that the kind of metalheads too, But they probably listen to rap too. Those what he's talking about, and so he's got to come to the heavy metal show and check it out. At least we get a lot of girls. And girls, you know what? That's a proven fact. Girls like drummers the best. So keep that in mind when you start your career.
I've been to your shows, man. I know that ain't true.
What's that?
You guys get the hot chicks. I've been to your shows, man. I know that.
Yeah. We get the hotties.
You got them all ages, man. Hot grandma, hot milf, and the daughters.
That is true. You're very correct on that one. Because we've been around a long time. I've been around a long time. So you get people coming to the show that saw me back in the 80s, and now they're like in the 60s. And you go, wow, the audience changed a bit. But then we're also getting young guys like you at the show that love metal and love heavy music, and or their parents listen to it, and they come to the shows with their kids, and it's really cool, Because back then, that music, it was all played from the heart and soul. There were no click tracks. There was no computers. So when we recorded, we used to have to do the whole song at once when we recorded, like the Dio records and Sabbath records. We didn't cut and paste anything. We didn't have computers. So it was a different world back then, music world.
So let's talk about your new project, Scream Taker.
Yeah. Did you see the cover?
Yes. It's awesome, man.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
The three girls screaming. See, those are three metalhead girls. They're screaming at the show.
See?
Yeah.
If the Vinny Vincent project happened with Jim and your brother would this new band ever happen?
Well, this would have happened. It might have been more delayed, but the Vinnie Vincent thing never happened. It was with Carmine on drums and Jim Crean, who's the singer on this band, Scream Taker, and on this album. But Vinnie Vincent's a little bit on the, let's say he doesn't show up on time or show up at all or follow through. So he's kind of a bit flaky. So it never happened. He made it think everybody he made everybody think it was going to happen, and then nothing. So this might have been delayed a little bit. Depends on if he was serious and how many gigs they were doing and all that. But it didn't. So we got a good album out of it.
How did you hook up with Jim? I know he's the singer from Drum Wars as well.
Yeah, Jim was a singer. Carmine, my brother Carmine, and I do a show called Drum Wars, 2 drum sets, and we play all the music from our history. So it's a really good rock show. We got a band, and then there's some drum stuff in between. It's real exciting, a lot of high energy stuff. And Jim, we used to just fly in and use a band with a singer, and we flew into the East Coast, and Jim was the singer, and we met him, and he's really a great singer, and we became very good friends. And then he wanted to sing all the shows with us, so we did that, and then he eventually did a solo album. I played on it, Carmine played on it, and I think I did 2 albums, played on 2 of his solo kind of things, and then started having this idea. Maybe he hooked up with this guitar player, Stefan Hound from France. Really, really good player. He plays keyboards, he plays bass, and he started, writing some riffs, writing some songs with Stefan, and then Jim asked me to play on it, and it was really heavy. It's a dark, heavy album. It's really cool. So we started working together, and then we kept putting songs together. We never met in a room because this is an internet kind of session, and that's how we came together. And we had our friend Artie Dillon mix it, who mixed. He had a great mix on it. It's really nice sounding, really good sounding drums. I did the drums here. This is my studio. See, there's my drums.
Oh wow, that's
That's
so
my
cool.
drum. It's
That's
over there. Yeah, it shows up backwards on Zoom. I don't know. It's
oh
cool.
my god,
Yeah, there's all shit wires everywhere.
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So I get a good drum sound in here, really good. I record myself, and it's happening. So, but the album's good. I don't know if you heard it. Have you got a copy yet?
Mm, no.
Okay. Well, we could get them to send you something.
Okay.
You know?
Thank you, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I would like that. Thank you very much. I would appreciate that.
Okay. What's you know what? I'll get an address from the agent who booked the interview.
Okay.
Jam man. I'll write it down so I don't forget. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Your new album was written during the pandemic, and it was kind of a dark thing about like vampires and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that was Jim writing the lyrics, and I think it was a dark period for everybody. The pandemic. It was like that's never happened before, and you're young. It's like you've already been through it. But Jim, I think the music inspires the lyrics as well. The music's dark, heavy. There's heavy chords, unusual chords, and I'm playing. It sounds very Sabbathy because it's the way I play, and that probably inspired some dark lyrics in there. And then, did you see the video? There's a video, Cold Stone, on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like
Yeah, with
it's
the zombies?
yeah. It's like a goof. It's not any. It's like a really bad horror movie for 3 minutes. And yeah, it's got vampires in it, and it fits the music and it fits the lyrics. And we just did that for fun. Somebody from the Google Dolls funded it. He wanted to do something with his production company, so that's how that came about. And it just looks so cheesy, like a B movie, a horror movie. It's really cool. So cheesy that it's cool.
So cheesy.
Yeah.
The zombies in your video are from my hometown. They always dress up like zombies at all kinds of events.
Where are you from?
Buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's where Jim lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I haven't hung out there that long to see zombies, but I take your word for it. But you'll probably see some on Halloween, right?
Yeah, of course. We always see some at Halloween, but like
Yeah. What do
during
you dress up as Halloween? This Halloween?
I'm gonna try to do this cool suit where like Jason is snapping my neck and I'm like trying to say, help me.
Oh yeah.
It depends on a lot of acting, but it also depends on the uniform as well.
Oh, good. Sounds like fun.
It really is. I was Pennywise one time. That took a lot of work.
Oh, I bet. I'm going as my brother. I'm just putting a mustache on.
That's real scary right there.
You're right.
Purple hair. No.
Yeah, well, now his hair is white. He stopped dyeing it.
Mm, dang, that's a
He
shame.
went to hell with this. It's white with some black in it. Looks good.
Are you a horror guy?
A what?
Are you a horror guy?
Whore?
A what? A a horror guy, like horror?
Oh, a horror.
Okay.
So you're at, I said, are you a hooer guy? And where'd that come from? Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I like the old stuff, like the Mummy, Dracula, and all that Frankenstein. I like that old stuff. You know.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
hmm
How did you hook up with John Lennon?
When I was 16 years old, my band had a contract with the Record Plant Studios in New York. They managed us, so they gave us a free rehearsal room up in the studio in Manhattan, which is great because Manhattan's expensive, and we can go up there anytime. Our gear was always set up, so we used to work there all the time, writing songs. We did a couple of gigs. It was a big band. It had 9 pieces in the band. There's 4 horn players, keyboard players, singer, and bass, drums, and guitar. And then one night, Jimmy Iovine, who was our producer, called up to our room and said, "Can you guys come down and do hand claps for a session?" Okay. So we went downstairs, 9 of us. Back then, they didn't have computers. Now you can just get a sample, put hand claps on a record. Back in those days, you had to clap, and record it. So we went downstairs and we walk in and we see John Lennon in the control room. Oh shit! Listen, it's John Lennon. So we were freaking out, and then we put the headphones on. And we grew up with the Beatles. At my age, the Beatles were always there. Now he's talking to us in the headphones. You go, oh my God, he's talking to me. This is incredible. So that's how we hooked up with him. And then we hung out a little bit, and then we went back upstairs to rehearse. We were all excited. And then a couple of days later, John came up to our rehearsal and hung out. There's you come into the room. There's 2 steps that go down. He sat on the steps. He watched us play, and he was really cool. And then there was a pool table next door. Played pool with him. So we wound up him hanging out with us a lot. And then we did 3 videos with him. And then we did a session for the owner of the record plant's wife. She had 8 songs, and John produced it. We were the band. And then he asked us to do a live TV performance. And that was on TV everywhere in the world. It was a big special. And we did that with John, and that was his last live gig. I didn't know that until a couple of years back, a couple of years ago, when I played John Lennon's last gig. Holy crap.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, yeah. So it was quite an experience. I wish I took more pictures. We didn't have cell phones back then. You have to have a camera.
What was it like playing with a Beetle?
Well, you just playing and you go, this is the guy who wrote all those songs and all the movies that they made, and what a life experience they went through, to become one of the biggest bands ever in the world, and all the merchandising and albums and everything. Just, being in the room with somebody like that, it's like, wow, But you don't want to turn into a fanboy. That's why he used to come hang out with us. We never said, hey, John, can I take a picture with you? Hey, can we take a picture? Hey, can you sign an autograph? We didn't do that. So that's why he hung out. But I wish I would have got his autograph. I didn't get his autograph. I didn't
Hey,
want to be a fanboy. So
you should have done it at like the last gig when he was like really happy and everything. You just should have asked, Can I just get
Yeah,
one autograph, man?
yeah. Hey, can you sign this check? Yeah, we didn't. I wish I would have did that, but that I got the experience, so memory.
Hey, man, memories are important.
That's right. That's right.
I know Sharon Osbourne called you and asked you to start a band with Ozzy, but your brother said he was wild. Do you wish you would have joined after all?
Um, yeah, well, right before Black Sabbath, Sharon Osbourne called and said she's putting a band together with Ozzy. And we heard about you and your drumming, and we'd fly you to England to hang out with Ozzy, see how it goes, see how we get along. And back then, Ozzy was pretty crazy. He was drinking still, so he's pretty nuts. And then I was maybe 20 years old, 21 years old. That might sound old to you, but it's kind of young. And then I asked my brother, you've been around Ozzy. Is he crazy? Is he nuts? And my brother Carmine said, yeah, he's pretty crazy. And last time I seen him, he had his head in a bowl of spaghetti. He passed out in the spaghetti at this at this club. I went, oh, okay. So I turned it down. I didn't want to. I never been overseas. I wasn't ready for it. So uh, I turned it down. But luckily, about a month later, I got a call from Black Sabbath, and they were in the U.S. And Ronnie James Dio was, he lived in California. He lived close to me. So that was easy to do. I went down, met everybody, and it really gelled. And luckily that came along. So otherwise, I'd probably go, "Whoa, I should have did that. Should have did the Ozzy gig." But nah, no regrets. So I got to work with Ronnie and make some great albums.
Now, when I interviewed Carmine, he said that he was originally asked to join Black Sabbath but turned it down, and that's how he got the gig. Is that true?
Nah, they might have thought of him because he has a mustache, but he wouldn't fit in the band. Ronnie said no, he was never asked. So I don't know where Carmine came up with that.
Old Carmine making up things.
You're right. Yeah, too much. I don't know, coffee maybe. So, but Ronnie said no.
Were you a big Black Sabbath fan when you joined?
Not really. All the bands I played with, I wasn't a big fan, but I obviously listened to them. And Sabbath, it's better that way because if you were a big fan of Black Sabbath, then you go, oh, I got to go play with them. Then you're like a fanboy.
Yeah.
Whereas um, when it's like, okay, well, this is cool. I listen to Zeppelin more than Sabbath. And then you go in as a musician, like, okay, what do we got to do? We got to get these songs down and we got a show in a couple of days and you work as a team. So it was probably better that way.
But you didn't know how to play all the songs when you joined, is that right?
Right. I know I heard the songs, but hearing a song and playing it's two different things, especially for drums. And so what I did was I made a chart, a book, notebook, and made charts. Like I could read music, drum music. It wasn't like an official chart, that you would read in an orchestra, but it was like some notes written, and it would be start, stop, hang for 2 bars, or come in on 4 end, things like that to get me by. So I put the book on the floor because we only really had 3 days to rehearse. Then we went to play a 30,000 seat arena in Hawaii. So then we playing halfway through, it started raining and the book got all wet because I couldn't read it.
Oh God.
Oh shit! So I wound up just had to wing it, look at each other, when the endings were coming. Okay, now, boom, all that stuff. But we got it, did it, or I did it.
They
Got
didn't.
yeah.
You joined right in the middle of the Black and Blue tour with Blue Oyster Cult, right?
Uh, yeah. Thereafter, we were on tour with them. You know why? Because it was the same manager, this guy Sandy Pearlman, and he managed Blue Oyster Cult and he managed Sabbath. So they managed to put that tour together, which was a good tour. And there's some sort of kind of bootleggy movie that filmed it and was out for a while called The Black and Blue. Mm.
When I interviewed Albert Blue Bouchard, he said that it was the worst tour you ever went on because Black Sabbath sabotaged them by playing long sets, and the band did not get along and fought a lot. Is that true?
Yes. I didn't think we played long sets. We only had so many songs. We played the set we usually played. But then, yet, on the other hand, we played Madison Square Garden, and Blue Oyster Cult goes on. They had that Godzilla thing, big, tall Godzilla, because they got that song Godzilla, right? And they used all these props, and nobody told us we could have used more pyro and more production, but we kept it to a minimum. So everybody was pissed off that they got to use that big Godzilla and their whatever else they used, and we didn't. Yeah, bands didn't get along too good. It wasn't very good.
Any
So,
fist
I
fighting?
like Albert. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Did you guys have any fist fights or just
Nah.
verbal?
Now I remember the manager. He's the one that managed both bands, but he came backstage and Tony Iommi kicked him in the ass. He was really pissed off. So I don't think he came around after that.
Do you remember if you guys treated them poorly at all during the tour, or was kind of half-half?
I'm sorry. Say that again. What was that?
Do you remember if you guys treated them poorly during that tour, or was it half-half?
No, I don't think we did. And I became friends with those guys. And I don't remember purposely treating them bad or at all. So actually, years later, after the more cowbell skit, remember that on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
Played it.
Needs more cowbell.
Yeah, come more cowbell. I got a fever. So they played at a rock camp. I do a lot of these rock fantasy camps, and it was a couple of guys from Blue Oyster Cult, Eric and Buck, and they were going to play. They're going to play that song. There was a small audience. I said, "Can I play the cowbell?" I said, "Yeah." So I was doing the cowbell on it. So I got to play cowbell for that song. That was cool.
And I know you played the October 9th, 1980, which was the night of a big riot.
Where?
With that tour, remember October 9th?
No.
No? You don't remember?
Was the Black and Blue tour?
Yes.
Oh no, I don't remember that. I thought we only had one good riot, and that was in Milwaukee when we played with just us, Black Sabbath, and somebody in the audience threw a bottle on stage, and Geezer Butler, he's the bassist, on the head, and started bleeding.
That's the riot. Yeah, that is the riot.
That's then Ronnie got pissed off and said, "That's it. We're not going to play. We're out of here." That's why they don't have bottles at the venues anymore. It's really dangerous. They're like weapons. So the people started getting mad and started tearing the place apart. And then we had to get out of there with a police escort. It was on the news, CNN News, all that stuff. So that's the riot.
Were you scared? Did you guys' equipment get destroyed at all?
Some of it got damaged, but then they came in and said, "Well, we better get you guys out of here. They're trying to break down the doors." And we said, "Oh shit, we better get out of here." And it was scary for a moment, but they'd probably break down the doors and get to the band and go, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" What are you going to do? Beat us up? No, it's Black Sabbath. It's crazy. So yeah, then they got us out of there. We were safe.
No, the things kind of fell apart with Black Sabbath during Live Evil time frame. What
Yeah.
was all that attention about back then?
Played Live Evil.
Live Evil?
You said Live Evil, but it could be pronounced different. Live Evil. If you spell live backwards, it's evil.
Huh.
Did you know? Did
Yeah.
You know
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's cool.
that? What was the question? Sorry.
During the Lie of Evil time frame, what was all the tension about back then?
Well, the tension was when the album got mixed. The band wasn't getting along. Not me, because I'm the new kid on the block, so I didn't have much of a say. but Ronnie, Tony, and Geezer, they weren't seeing eye to eye anymore, and they had some business issues. You know, the typical thing with bands, and so it wasn't going well. And then when we got home to mix it, uh, they were accusing Ronnie of going in with me in the afternoon and mixing it, you know, the drums and the vocal loud, and then Tony and Geezer would come in and they would put, you know, remix it. It was crazy. So we just, you know, the studio was booked in the afternoon, and that's when Ronnie and I arrived. You know, 2 o'clock. But Tony and Geezer didn't arrive till like 6 or 7 o'clock. You know, hours later, just wasting studio time. So when we got there, Ronnie wanted to work, so he's let's try to start mixing this until they come in. You know, so it got out of hand, usual.
Now, Tony says that you and Dio were plotting a solo project during that time. Is that true?
Uh, no, I don't remember plotting anything, but Ronnie had a deal with Warner Brothers to do a solo album. You know, they knew that way before. So his plan was, you know, when we got time off from Black Sabbath, he'll put together all musicians and record an album, a solo album, Ronnie James Dio's solo album. But since the band was breaking up, then Ronnie's uh, ideas changed. He said, I want to put a band together. And he asked me if I wanted to join him. And I said, yeah. And then we got Jimmy Bain and Vivian Campbell. And that became Dio. And we did the first album. We wrote and recorded Holy Diver. It was a great band, and it became big for a couple albums. You know, it was good. It was a great band, great songs.
Tony recently said that Dio wanted to do another Heaven and Hell album. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah. We all wanted to do another one. We wanted to do another tour. Things got better than Heaven and Hell days. We did 2 tours and we did one album, and then we were looking forward to doing another album and another tour because the band was sounding great. Everybody was having fun, having a good time. It was smooth. But then Ronnie got sick. So we thought he could pull through, but he never did. He couldn't do it. So then that was the end of it, you know. Too
It
bad.
was sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
It was announced today that they are reissuing all your stuff with Black Sabbath. Did you re-record any other thing or digital improvements, or it's just
No, what they do is they take the original tapes, which are probably from the record company, and then they go in and they're going to remix it in the hopes of getting a bit better sound on it because the technology is different today, and then remastering it and all that. So that's what they're doing. But sometimes that doesn't work good. You change what was in a classic album and you go remix it, and like somebody else is a new guy's mixing it, and sounds different. Sometimes it sounds better. Sometimes it doesn't sound quite as good. So see what happens. They'll remaster it too, which means, you know, you put the finishing touch on the music, you know, like EQ and all those kind of things, compression and stuff like that. So you'll see what it sounds like.
what was more fun, being in Dio or Black Sabbath?
Well, Dio was a younger band, and we were more crazy. There was could do anything we want. So I would say that would be more fun. Sabbath was always been in the Black Sabbath room, you know. You had Black Sabbath is Black Sabbath. You didn't want to change it too much because that's what they were, and it worked, and it was fun too. But Dio was probably more fun, you know. We stayed up later, had all the hot chicks.
Yeah, I see. When you heard Bill Ward, would you not be a part of the final Black Sabbath tour, or do you wish they would have asked you?
Well, they never asked. So the final tour, yeah, that would have been great to do, to end it like that, you know, be part of that, come up, play a couple songs, whatever, or do the whole tour. But, you know, things have changed after all those years, like management has changed and people around the band has changed. So it didn't go that direction. You know, they decided on uh, using a different drummer, and but I'm cool. You know, I was glad they went out, but they didn't use Bill. 'Cause, Bill, you know, it's hard to play. I don't know. It's hard to work with a little bit sometimes. Takes too long, and you know, he's not the healthiest person, but he's great and he's a great drummer.
Or do you think Ozzy would have been like, not a chance? He turned me down, then joined the band. I left. I want nothing to do with Vinny.
Who, Ozzy?
Yes, if
If
you were able
I
to do that tour.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think Ozzy would remember when I left. I played with him in between that at that European tour we did, the original Sabbath with Ozzy. So it would have been cool. Ozzy's great.
You guys loved Ronnie so much, and the fans loved his music so much that you still play the music with Last in Line.
Yeah. Well, Last in Line started out just as a fun thing to try out, and we jammed in the studio, Vivian, Jimmy, and I, and we had a good time. We played the old Dio stuff, and Viv had to learn the solos. And the next, we said, let's do it again next week. And that's when Andy Freeman was in town. He's a friend of mine. I called him. He started singing, and it sounded great. So we said, well, let's do something. Let's do a couple of gigs. So we started doing a couple of gigs. Then we got a record deal with Frontiers Records. Then we wound up doing couple bunch of tours, you know, when we could, and we recorded the first record, and it did okay, you know, the record, and then we kept going. So we had two albums out, and now we're releasing next month on the 11th an EP from like we talked about before. It's got two live songs on it from Europe, "The Day in the Life," the Beatles song, and then a new one that's going to be on the album. Our album will actually come out in full next year. So, but we do set with uh, a lot of Dio classic songs, and then we put in a few of our songs too. You know, because people like to hear the classics. You know, that's what we were built on. So we still play them, and it's fun playing those songs.
I would not say Last in Line is a tribute band, but more of a combination of Dio, and I think Ronnie would have still been with you guys if he was still alive.
Yeah, yeah, he would. It's not really a tribute band because we were the guys that wrote the songs. You know, we wrote those songs with Ronnie, and so you know, it's not really tribute, but yeah, it would have been interesting. So I got about 5 more minutes, then I got to do another interview.
Uh,
So it's a lot to talk about, right?
yeah. All right. You know what? Here, just give me. I'm gonna ask you some questions real quick. Just a couple more. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. What do you think about the Dio hologram?
I never met him.
Never
I've
met him.
never, I never met him. Uh, it looked a bit weird on stage because he was right in the front, and it is what it is. It's basically kind of a film, but it kind of worked. But some people don't like it. Some people like it. But I never seen it live, and I don't know if I even wanted to see it live. It'd be too weird for me to see, you know, Ronnie up on stage in the, you know, it's like a box that he's in. So, but some people liked it that never seen Ronnie. So,
When the drummer from Def Leppard lost his arm, did Vivian Campbell ever call you about taking his place?
no, no, no. That's such a tight family. You know, I mean, they've been together since they were really young and just started. So I got to hand it to them. You know, they didn't abandon him and go, well, you can't play anymore. Let's get somebody else. They worked with him and they were able to make it work. You know, and Rick polished his coordination again. You know, we did everything to play like that. And now he does a fantastic job. So they're all family. So that never happened. You got to give him credit for pursuing it and not abandoning him and Rick for really going for it and pulling it off. Very cool.
Another band that you were in, I want to talk about is Kill Devil Hill with
Yeah.
Rex from Pantera.
Yes. Yeah, that was a band we put together. I had a when was that? I don't even know what band. I had the time and I put together some drum grooves and then went over to the guitar player, met Mark Zavon, heavy guitar player, and we started putting the songs together on the computer. So this is pretty cool. And Jimmy Bain was the bass player from Dio. And then eventually didn't work out with Jimmy. So we got Rex Brown. I called Rex because I know him. I said, you might like this stuff we're doing. It's pretty heavy and dark. It's fun. And then he came over and he lives in Texas. We were in California. And he put the bass down. Then it really came alive. It's a very heavy band, very heavy sound, and Dewey Bragg on vocals. It was a great band. We did 2 albums.
What do you think about Rex and Phil getting Pantera back together?
I think that's great. I always thought years ago when Dimebag passed that why don't they get you know a perfect guitar player is Zach Wild, and that's cool. So, but that's when Vinny, his brother, was still alive playing drums. And I always thought they should get Zach, go out and play the music. But it's been so long now. Now they don't. Vinny's passed too, and Charlie's on drums, and he probably fits perfect. He's that kind of drummer. So sounds like it's going to be exciting.
Did you throw your hat to be the drummer on the upcoming reunion tour?
Which reunion tour? Sabbath?
Pantera.
Oh, me? I don't play that stuff. I mean, I could play it, but I don't use double bass, and I'm a heavy drummer, heavy player,
Okay.
heavy metal, but it's a different type. So, I mean, if they asked, I would have went down and checked it out, but I don't think I'd fit.
Carmine told me that he gave you the first set of real drums, and that were his from when Vanilla toured with Led Zeppelin. Is that true?
Yeah. I guess that was the first Red Sparkle kit. I think it was a Ludwig drum set, and he used it on a famous show called Ed Sullivan Show with the Vanilla Fudge. And then eventually he got a deal with Ludwig drums and got the maple color, beautiful set. And then he left those at home, and I used them. And yeah, he gave them to me. Yeah, I don't know where they are now. I should have kept them. Be cool.
He said that you destroyed them by tearing them apart. Is that true?
Yeah. Because Carmine got these new drums from Ludwig, and they were nice maple color finish, beautiful wood finish. And I thought, oh man, that's so cool. I bet you if I take the red sparkles wrap off, it would look the same. So I went ahead and started doing that. What I didn't realize is that wrap is pretty thick and it's glued to the drum, and half of the pieces of the drum came out too. And it ruined the drum pretty much. So then I just covered it, went to the fabric store and bought some vinyl, brown of all colors. That's all they had. Covered it with like that. So yeah, I did ruin them. It's too bad. Those are classic drums. Yeah.
What is your favorite memory from playing a show?
You know what? I played so many shows. They were all fun. They were all really, really special to me. And I remember the first gig I ever played. I was nervous as hell. It was like in the side of the stage. Some other band was on. It was at a church dance. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh man, I'm getting nervous. And then we went on and played. And I didn't look at the audience. I was shy. So, how about one more question? Then I got to run.
All right. What is your worst?
What is what?
Your worst memory from playing a show?
I don't know. I don't think I had a worse memory, you know.
The riot?
Well, the riots probably the most, yeah, when that happened. But that was still like exciting in a way where, oh my God, we didn't expect this to happen, you know. But all the gigs have been really, really good. And sometimes one time I broke in Cleveland at an arena, I broke the bass drum head, and that didn't usually break. And I went, oh no, popped it. So Ronnie, I told him, talk. So he's talking, and all the crew came on, it was like a pit stop, and they changed the head for me. And then, but they banged into everything up on my drum set because they were panicking. Oh my God, moving the cymbals and moving stuff. So they got the bass drum head on. Then when I went up to play, stuff was all over the place, you know. So, but it was still okay.
How did my followers follow you?
Oh, what? Oh,
How
your
do
followers?
Yeah.
Well, you can go on, you know what, on Facebook every Tuesday, California time, 4 p.m. I do a live drum stream. So it's live Tuesday, 4 p.m. at Vinny Appice official Facebook page. And you can go up there and see previous ones as well.
Okay.
And I do play the music, a couple of songs, then I talk, then I teach, and I get questions from the audience. And I've been doing it for like over 2 years now. It's been going really, really well. And that actually kept me in shape. So during the pandemic, when we weren't playing that much, because I practiced, I didn't want to go up there, you know, too loose and stuff like that. So, but anyway, I want to wish you luck on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you
You're
for being,
good.
thank you for being on my show. The next time we talk is not the backstage on one of these shows, man. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Have a nice night.
Yeah. When we play Buffalo, you have to come down.
I will, man. I always will.
We're not playing Buffalo right now, but we will maybe next year.
Remember when we met in Niagara Falls? Remember?
This time with Carmine?
Yeah, remember you were at the pizza and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember? Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
You guys had my drum head? You signed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's where I know. Okay, you're right. So, all right. Well, anyway, be cool. And then, hey, Leslie, look who's interviewing me. Leslie's my girlfriend. She helps me with the show, and she goes on the tour with us.
Hi, Leslie.
That's Jam Man.
How are you?
We met him in Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Very good.
You're beautiful, Leslie.
Woo! Hey, you flirter.
You're sweet. Thank you.
I told you, hot chicks, right?
Yeah? Yeah.
Hot chicks. There you go.
All right. All right.
All right, you take care, Jam Man. Okay. Good luck.
You have a nice night, man. Peace.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.